I'm an administrative lawyer. I work in insurance defense, so my days can vary quite a bit from day to day. Sometimes I am in a hearing with a judge. Some days I'm in a mediation. Other days I sit in my office all day and talk on the phone or write briefs. So it's not the same every day for sure.
Great.
I started at the University of Maine and got my degrees in psychology and journalism. I took the LSAT in college and applied for law schools around the country. Ended up going to New England Law down in Boston. There I spent 3 years. I did various internships while I was there, which I would highly recommend as part of your process in figuring out what you want to do as an attorney. I tried a family law internship while I was there and thought that that was going to be what I wanted to do after law school, and figured out very quickly that that was not for me at all. And I also did an internship in Alaska where I did administrative type law and felt like that was a really great fit. Ended up finding a job after law school working for the state of Maine in the Workers' Compensation Advocates Office, which meant I represented injured workers and helped them get benefits that had been denied to them. After being there for a couple of years, the law firm of Tucker Law Group asked me to come work for them. And some people call that going over to the dark side because it's literally the opposite side of where I started, working for the insurance companies that, denied the benefits to the injured workers. But I've really enjoyed sort of flipping onto another side than I was on before. It's all sort of the same practice area in general. The group of people that I work with, in the workers' compensation system in the state of Maine are all very collegial. It's been a great group of people to sort of grow up in the legal field with, and I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Did you take
I did not, but I'm one of those people who really thrives off from the schedule and school in general. I didn't feel as though I needed to have a break in between college and law school. I did know a lot of people in my class in law school that worked for a few years. And I think that helped some of them in deciding what kind of legal path they wanted to follow after law school, because they had already gotten that hands-on experience working for, let's say, child services, or they had worked in a law firm as a paralegal and seen what the day-to-day life was like in those jobs. And so when they came into law school, they sort of had a set path that they were on. And I envy those people in some ways, but for me, it made the most sense to just jump right into law school after college. I feel like that's a personal question for most people. Like, do you have debts that you want to pay down after college before, piling on a bunch more from law school? Do you want to travel in a job? Are you able to get a job after college that allows you to sort of help on the path to law school? And certainly if you didn't get great grades, that might be another consideration, to get some experience that could show, you're a hard worker, and that you've got a path that you want to take in terms of going and getting your degree and becoming a lawyer. So lots of different reasons to do that for sure. Um, I find that it offers me a lot of flexibility in terms of balancing work and life. Um, I do enjoy, I'll say, the competition aspect of my job quite a bit as well. I was an athlete in college, and I found that being an attorney, you're you're shaking hands with people and being collegial, but you're also wanting to make sure you win and do the best job for your clients. And I definitely thrive off from that that aspect of my work. that winning part is the losing part, and it's never an easy thing to call your client and say that the the thing you were working towards, the thing that you had been hoping was going to happen in case just didn't happen. And that can be a difficult aspect of the job, just because you work really hard for a really long time on something, and sometimes cases settle that you'd been gearing up really hard for litigation, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. um, or you get an unfavorable decision that you weren't expecting, or you're not allowed to appeal your case for one reason or another, and those things can make the job a little bit harder, because obviously things don't always go to plan, as we certainly know these days.
Well, my job in particular, we work a 24-hour shift. So my shift starts at 7 in the morning and it goes until 7 the following morning. And our daytime consists of uh, vehicle checks, our apparatus, to make sure they're in service and ready to go, and house chores. We clean every day, and we train. And in between all that, our first priority is responding to emergency calls. And they can range for our area that we cover. We cover 7 different communities other than Old Town. We can have 2 calls a day, or we can have 18 calls a day. So the day can drag, or the day can go by really fast. Well, how I got into it, how I first started liking this job was in 8th grade. They had a junior firefighter program in the town of Milford where I lived, and a few of my friends decided to join, and I did too. And so I've actually been on the Milford Fire Department since I was 12. I took one summer off when I went out of state to work, and I am still active on Milford Fire, which is a call department, meaning when there's a call, you respond. It's not a full-time job. It is paid, and I'm the assistant chief over there. However, I went to college at UMaine. I did 3 years in the Forest Natural Resources program, and then I realized it really wasn't going down the road I was looking for, so I got my degree in, I'm trying to think of the way legal technology, I guess you'd, um, I'm sorry, I'm spacing on what the name of it is. That's how important it is to me.
Do they still have that degree today?
I don't think so. Because I had wanted to be either a game warden or a forest ranger. So I wanted that law enforcement background. And I tested for a game warden and made it through 3 steps of that process. And then I tested for the Forest Service, or the Maine Forest Service, and Old Town Fire Department. And those tests were going on at the same time, and in the same week I got offered a job. And I had to decide what I wanted to choose. And I chose, obviously, firefighting, because I can still, on my days off, do wildland firefighting, which I have done, traveled out of state for 2 weeks at a time doing wildland firefighting. I love handling emergencies and trying to figure out the problem and trying to fix the problem. That's what I love at work. Every day is a new challenge. No call is the same. We do a lot of EMS calls, so you have to figure out what's going on with the person and why they're acting or feeling the way they are, and try to change that. And then especially on fire calls, whether it be vehicle accidents or building fires, or everything we do is trying to stop what's happening and make it better. And I love that challenge. Um, right now for me, I've been there for, it'll be 20 years in July. And so we have a lot of new people coming on as people retire. And the challenge is trying to take everything I've learned since I've been 12 years old in firefighting and try to teach it to the newer generation coming in, and trying to find that way to adapt the way I learned it into the way that they learned it, I guess you could say. Where I came up in the world where my officers were very gruff and frank, and you do it and you don't ask why, you just do it. Where this newer generation, there's a lot of questioning, which I think is great, but it's just trying to adapt to that. And